get the Discord running.
Uh-huh.
And like I have no understanding of Discord, but like today, because I'm I'm not doing Twitter the way I have been doing it. I'm trying to like make a concerted effort to like because I like the community element we have, you know. So I'm trying to get the Discord kind of up and running, and it's just as interesting, man. I don't know what I'm doing really, you know.
I
Apparently, I
would
can I can mod people and stuff, which seems scary.
I would like our community better if they just left us a bunch of money right now.
Fair. Well, this is the thing is, and this is a big topic on national news right now. Is like our community and what portion of it is the Grinner Circle is very controversial, you know, because we have obviously a big community, right?
Mm.
But like, how many of the 3,000 people that watch our podcast like us? A, B, like me or you individually. C, we know how many of them are patrons for the late night grin. Therefore, I mean, percentage wise, we're like transferring at like a TNA TV to TNA pay per view rate of body. So you know, there's a there's a lot to be said for that. I don't really know where I'm going with it, but I just thought I'd bring up Discord. If you're a patron, you can hit me up and I'll give you a link and you can talk to Confirm Shoot about the AWA.
It doesn't seem great that you just compared us to TNA and
Yeah,
you know how they can't turn in paying customers.
true.
It's not good.
Um, how old is Taylor Swift today?
32.
So I am right in saying that she is born the day after. I mean, after in terms of day, not year, as the Mad King Eddie Kingston, as well as the Butcher.
Yes.
Special time for birthdays, clearly.
Yes.
Um, 32, huh?
Yeah.
Can you
She was
please
born
list? Go ahead.
no, she was born in 1988, Joseph. She has an album called 1988.
List to me. Oh well, so you actually share that. Well, that's pretty cool. Um.
Oh, sorry, 1989. Oh boy, I'm gonna get yelled
Oh.
at. Oh
Oh
shit,
shit. Okay.
shit.
And he
Oh,
hashtag this too. So there's gonna be
oh
what are they
no.
called? Swifties.
Yeah, the Swifties.
You just got clipped and posted to every Stan account on Twitter.
Oh,
Congratulations,
fuck,
Jeremy. Appears you've just been
fuck.
owned here live on the air. Owned by yourself too.
Look, man,
That's
look.
hard.
It's Joseph. It's been such a long week.
I know,
I
but
can't think straight. It's been such a long week.
there's a line, brother. There's you got to get your Taylor Swift shit
I
right. You got
know. I know. I do. Shit.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
not a great look.
No, that wasn't. Let's read super chats so I can try to distract people from what I just did. Ricardo says, "All hell, guys, entertain me and make me happy." It's like command. Like Ricardo's just like telling us, like, entertain me and make me
Yeah,
happy.
like clowns at the circus. It's terrible,
Yeah,
man.
O'Neill's not even here. Talking about clowns. O'Neill's not even here.
Dude, he sent a message. Listen to this, bro. Oracle asked in our chat, our late night grin thing. He goes, let me find this. He says, and I quote, um,
Is that the one that I'm not a part of? I'm not a part of a lot of group chats.
well, this is just I share the stream yard, you know.
Okay.
And he says, "How was the real final battle of Ring of Honor? I heard Bob's favorite showed up." Bob replies, "This is Bob's genuine reply. This is a tease for tomorrow night. I didn't watch it yet, but it seemed decent enough, I guess." What the fuck are you talking about? It seemed decent. You didn't watch it. What do you mean it seemed decent enough? I guess.
He just saw like the buzz about it and
Yeah, that's
reviews and
just
stuff. It's like, oh yeah, sure, seemed decent. I haven't watched it, but that's
yeah,
fair. I mean,
just
I
people.
don't watch any of this stuff, and I was like, it's fine. So I get it.
We will review that tomorrow on this very channel. Same in about will be like 24 hours and about 10 minutes. Just over 24 hours from now. So you can watch that, and Bob will hopefully have watched it by then. That'd probably be good.
That would be helpful if he has.
Yeah.
JJ says TNA ruled. It was a great comparison, wacky and fun. And we're trying to make money here. Like we're gonna be hard to kill, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Denise Salcedo has DM'd me.
Oh
I know
no.
she's not watching this, but
Do you think she's been informed of your
No,
sin?
she's a coward. She's being a coward. I invited her on the stream to say happy birthday to Taylor
Wow.
Swift, and she says I'm gonna call her out on air. She says I would have, but I have zero makeup on and I'm in pajamas still. Plus, I'm about to eat dinner. I'm gonna call her a coward. Everyone tweet Denise Salcedo and call her a coward.
If they were my like qualifications of coming on the air, I never would have done a show. So you know, it is what it is. Business has changed and all that stuff. I do want to quickly. We're having fun here and all that good stuff. Jimmy Rave.
Yes.
You know, maybe I was thinking about this a little bit, and I'm going to talk to Oracle about it tonight on Patreon because he's much more educated on the matter than I. But he was like the purest heel of Ring of Honor's golden era. You know,
Yeah.
he was a great heel, and you know, shooting like Steel Cage Warfare and the match with Nigel, the fight without honor, comes to mind, and yeah, just it's really sad. I wish the last few years had been kinder to Jimmy. So yeah. There's that, and also on a much less serious note, I do want to give love to our cohorts over at Wrestling Daily because I see that they are reimagining their programming as Ring of Honor is, and in all seriousness, love to those some good people over there. So I hope everyone's good. You know, New Year fast approaching, and hopefully there's you know, we can all let it play out and everything will be okay. That's my hope, Jeremy. I'm pretty fired up about what we're doing here. There's a lot of very, very talented people out there that I think I'm hoping, man. I'm rooting for them to really to burst through that glass ceiling, so to speak, in 2022. So I thought I'd mention that. I don't want to dwell on the Jimmy because it's just bless that man.
Yeah.
You know.
It's been a very rough. I mean, it was November 2020 when he got the arm amputated. So,
Yeah.
because he last wrestled like 2 years ago, I believe
Right.
2019. So yeah, it's been tough for Jimmy Rave. Like the ROH stuff, obviously very memorable. Like the Rock and Rave infection with Impact was like a fun little act. Throwing toilet paper at the ROH shows, tremendous bit. But yeah, it's rest in peace, Jimmy Rave, and if anybody out there is struggling, I always say this, but reach out, send us a DM. We will. We typically try to reply back and everything. But yes, RP Jimmy Rave, and as far as the Wrestling Daily guys, fuck Alex McCarthy. No, I hope they're doing well. Honestly, like I hope everything's good. But,
Yeah. It's hard, man. So, I mean, we find out the daily grind in terms of content is really challenging. You know,
yeah,
those guys had a good run there, and yeah, I hope everyone's good. Obviously, our pal SP3. He's gonna whether it's on that platform or another, or just staying on his own. He's gonna keep rolling, right? Hanging with Dutch Mantel and shit. So yeah, all hail and all that good shit. Now, there are many things in our title. Yes, Jay Shell. I saw that.
yes,
Congratulations. Glad to see that Cass is, surrounding himself with more talented coaches like Doc Rivers. Good stuff. And
I gotta kick Cass and still steal Jay Shell.
so what would that look like? What kind of kick are we talking about here? Like
I didn't kick him in the fucking head, just like it was like a pump kick or just like a straight like kick, not like a super kick, but just like get it.
a big boot, basically.
Bam, just kick him. I can get my leg higher than that. I'm tired.
So like, would you Cassie's standing there? Would
Here,
you
hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just kick him right in the head.
But would you do it from a standing spot, or would you like run into it like Ty Conti?
Oh, totally run into it. I might even like grab his arms and then just like pull him in.
Oh fuck.
Break my computer.
That sounded awful, man.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do to Cass. Yeah.
Feels like there's kind of a blend there of ideas because I feel like if you run, it's harder to grab the arms. It feels like you need to like lure him in on that front.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of ways to like kick. So
true.
Yeah.
Said low key. Did you hear about that sorry piece of shit confirmed shoot what he did on Saturday?
He watched Eddie Kingston and low key, right?
Just texting, "You have been owned," all caps. What a piece of shit. I'm trying to mourn Ring of Honor. Bless his cotton socks. And he's texting me, Eddie Kingston just showed up. God damn, man. Yeah, we'll talk about... I need to watch that match. I wonder if it was good, Loki and King. I'm sure it was fine, but like, I wonder how kind of much time they got. It appears they shot some form of angle for Bud Matt versus Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
Which, let me tell you, Jeremy, maybe time for me to fly to New York City. You know what I'm saying? This is different. Imagine that. Imagine I go to New York and the match inevitably gets cancelled. Incredible.
We're not talking about wrestling, Joseph. It's in the title. It says no wrestling. I always
talk about professional wrestling.
Wrestling sucks.
Dude, I'm on fire right now. You know, I've got like a new series coming out tomorrow, a new written series.
Really?
Yeah, very like loose. Not going to be something scheduled, but
okay.
I'm using my my Honor Club subscription while I can.
Fair.
Before they inevitably email me and tell me it's over. So I got that. What else is happening? I'm going to watch Dark Elevation live on Patreon in about an hour.
I didn't know what, because I wanted to push this stream back to 6 because I had things to do. And you're like, well, I'm going on Patreon at 6:55. I didn't know what you were doing. I didn't, I was just like, all right, well, let me try to figure out the time for our show first. And so we did that. And then I saw you promoting that you guys are doing a Dark Elevation watch along. I was like, all right, sure.
Mm-hmm. And sense. Scoop. There's a good chance.
Wait. This is real? What is this? Do you know who these people are, Joseph?
Yes, I actually know both of those. Chris Evans is Captain America, right?
Yes.
Selena Gomez is in Only Murders in the Building, which is very good. I don't
even know what that is.
That's my only frame of reference for who she actually is. She has an incredible voice. I mean, a talking voice, not a singing one. I've never heard her sing in my life, but have you heard her talk, Jeremy?
Have I done what?
Have you heard Selena Gomez talk?
Yeah, I heard her sing.
Incredibly striking voice, you know?
She has some good songs.
Good. Take your word for it.
They're dating. I'm so out of the pop culture game.
I mean, is that where it's at nowadays? It feels like pop culture has got really a wide definition. I mean, it feels like pop culture now is just like Jake Paul's latest Instagram story. You know what I mean? It's a different time.
Fair.
The business has changed, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm seeing talk here. Sam has made it clear that is allegedly. That is not confirmed, Jeremy. So please make it clear that is allegedly.
Okay, sorry. Sam would know. Sam's pretty much like my pop culture connoisseur at this point.
Okay.
Because he's like 12 years old, so he knows everything that's going on. I'm sorry, Sam, you're what, like 19? Yeah, Sam's hip with the kids. I'm not.
Fair. I'm a hip hop guy, Jay Shell, but I'm not like up on that either. I'm just fucking old now. Just listening to the Blueprint in 2021, like a...
Yeah, same. I was legit. I was gonna tweet the lyric because I love it. Do you fools listen to music or do you just skim through it? Fucking classic line. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm a big comfort zone. I'm the same with wrestling too, man. Like the shit I like, I'll just watch that again and again and again rather than actually venturing out. You know? Like every turn I'll have, like I'll be like, I'm gonna watch some of this stuff and explore, and it's like I never do. I'll just go back and watch, you know, like mid-2000s Ring of Honor or some Old Japan or Tanahashi or Roddy Strong or the Machine Gun Carl Anderson, you know? I'll just, it is what it is, man. It's a personality thing, I guess. Dukes is right. He suggested to me a Denzel Curry. That thing was suggested to me 2 weeks ago. I haven't even searched it. It's brutal. I'm terrible at that stuff.
I listened to the new Drake and the new Kanye like once. I was like, all right, it's fine. And then I was like, all right, let me go back to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and listen to that for the 3 millionth time.
I don't know, man. Like, I get it. Commercial, every time he's going to have a smash hit. Like, Drake needs to he needs to mix it up something.
Does he? Like, is he? I assume he is, like, making hits, but I'm so out of, like, what's actually good and charting and stuff that I assume he is making hits. I just...
But it is different
much
now,
buzz
right?
about any of it.
I mean, streaming has changed everything, right?
Yeah.
And like it feels to me, and I'm not an expert on this, so clearly, so hear me out. Let me play this out. But I think it's almost easier to maintain like star power when it's streaming because it's so much easier for people to just like click a song, and be like, well, let's try the new Drake shit. Like it's a different time. He has been like the top. Sometimes his music, what you would describe it as, but he's been the top rapper in the world for like a decade now, which is fucking insane. I mean, if you look through history, that is not really something with great precedent. So, yeah, but I just wish I liked more of it because I don't really.
What is Smino? Jay Shell's asking about Smino.
It's
I've never. He is.
Pretty
I've
sure
never
it's
heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we're old, dude.
Yeah,
we're old, and we just can't embarrass ourselves. We talk about wrestling. And
Joseph, did you watch UFC this weekend?
I watched the last two fights. I watched Ring of Honor, and then I switched, and I mean that was incredible, man.
Yeah.
I'm never shocked when crazy shit happens in MMA because MMA is nuts.
Right.
But the way that played out was insane because it appeared that Amanda Nunes was so startled by the fact that she was getting like beaten like a shootout that she couldn't accept what was going on and just refused to give up on that shootout. Like she was just she assumed in the end she would hit her with her right hand and knock her out. And Pena kept building confidence. And when the people came up, I'm talking about last wrestling match, but I'm just being real. When the crowd stood up when she rocked her, that's one of the most magical sporting moments you'll ever see. I'm not even exaggerating. That was incredible, man. It was and look, I'm not here to knock Amanda Nunes, but she pretty clearly just like wilted too. That was what made it so crazy. So,
when Pena got her back and everything, it's like, all right, she's got her back. Like this is obviously you don't want to give up your back in a fight, not good. But like, Nunes is more than competent on the ground. And Pena didn't have she didn't have hooks in or anything. Yeah. She's had her back. And I was like, oh, okay, Nunes will just easily stand up out of this, get out of it. It'll be a wrap there. And yeah, you can just watch her soul leave her body as Pena locks in the choke and she taps out to it. Like no hooks or anything. It was nuts. And also just how easily she gave up the takedown. It was crazy.
She was done.
Crazy to watch. Yeah.
And there was actually, and you've seen this before, and I was trying to think of a good example of it, but there was a sense of relief with Amanda after the fight.
It did look like it.
It's a hard life. For her, that's just another fight, and that's the fight of Juliana Pena's life. Everyone chasing you. You see it sometimes. I was trying to think of a good example because it's definitely not an uncommon reaction. Like she looked kind of like the weight had been lifting off her shoulders, Amanda. It was weird,
Honestly, I don't know if the example I thought of was Anderson. I remember Anderson got knocked out by Wadman. He was just up, smiling, talking perfect English, an Indian translator for all these years and everything. And it just seemed like there was some sense of relief that it was obviously they didn't want to get knocked out or anything, but it did seem like there was just some sense of relief there. All right, I don't have to carry this anymore of
the pressure
being this champion. Yeah. And Nunes definitely, it looked like the same thing with her of she didn't have to carry that. You mentioned the pressure and the hard life and stuff. It's a very famous Mike Goldberg quote that my friend and I reference a lot. You know I'm going with it?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy to be a rock star, Joseph.
Yeah, and then Rogan was like, especially when you get punched in the face, whatever he said, remember?
I love that quote so much.
I saw a clip the other day of when Nunes beat Rousey, and that was
that was a murder.
She hit her square in the face so many times in that 1 minute. It was 50-something seconds, and she hit her clean over, and it was insane.
Yeah.
It was almost like the mystique of Ronda had gone, so there was nothing it was weird. It was obviously Ronda was incredibly skilled, but you got the vibe that her getting knocked out in front of the world changed everything, right? Nunes didn't have any fear of that woman. It was lost away. So I think she was a great champ. I ain't a big like, I ain't gonna come around and be like, she quit. Like, we all know what happened. It just is what it is. I've never been in there, so.
Do you think that's the biggest upset in MMA history?
No, I think Matt Serra is.
I
I
think
think the kids of today, Jeremy, don't realize that Matt Serra like won the Ultimate Fighter to like get back into the fold.
yeah.
Whether you thought Pena was good or not before Saturday, she was like a ranked top 5 UFC women's fighter. So I think people don't have the full context. Like Sarah was a guy that was like just a sort of tough veteran on the fringe of the promotion. So it's different.
Yeah, I don't think anything is going to top Sarah, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it would take a special set of circumstances to like top that. Like I know by bookie standards, I think Verdum over Fedor might be like the biggest based on like betting standards. But yeah, like Holm over Rousey and Pena over Nunes. This is like no offense to the champions and their respective runs and stuff, but especially when it comes to women's fighting, because it hadn't had the development that men's fighting had. Like you can kind of see why a lot of these fights aren't as competitive, and like how Rousey ran through somebody and okay, she ran into a kickboxer, home beater and everything. Like, there's just not as much data on a lot of these women when it comes to this stuff. And like Nunes, look, she was wrecking through everybody. I get it. But Pena was, like you said, like a top fighter. She was racking up victories and stuff. Matt Serra legitimately was out of the UFC. His best win to that point was,
I don't know what it was. Yeah,
I have no idea who it was. And like GSP looked like he was, and he eventually did. He looked like he was just on his way to just like never losing, and just looked like the most complete fighter in the entire world. And yeah, he got knocked out.
Well, yeah. Also, too, you remember that, and like this was kind of a big story at the time, was that Sarah was a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
And like, him rocking GSP on the feet was bonkers. And that's where there is a comparison, because Juliana winning a brawl with Amanda Nunes was insane. So
yeah.
I don't know. The thing is, I don't follow it closely enough anymore to give you a really good answer, because I hadn't watched Payne's last. I remember her when she won the Ultimate Fighter, but I hadn't watched her last few fights. But I know that the MMA heads I follow was like all week they were clowning Juliana. So,
like nobody really gave her a chance, and I mean, again, the bookie, the odds makers didn't really seem to give her a chance. I'm not saying this wasn't a huge upset. Obviously, it's one of like top 4 upsets of all time. But like you said, the kids these days, they don't understand just how big of an upset the Matt Serra thing was. And even when it looks like there is a dominant champion and an overmatched challenger and everything, like I can still I'll always give somebody a chance with this stuff. And I always give somebody that chance largely because of Matt Serra. And like Sarah kind of set that of like that's the reference point to a lot of like, oh, this person has a chance of like, well, look what Matt Serra did. Like that is very much like the upset reference point.
Yeah, it's an insane sport, and as much as it is a technical and tactical sport, the more that like an ESPN presents it the way they do, I think people lose sight of just how fucking insane it is and how crazy shit can go in that cage. Like,
yeah.
It isn't boxing, man. I mean, I love boxing, but most of the time with boxing, it's, you talk about the one punch can change a fight, and that happens. But, like, you can look at a guy's resume and skill set and know what a fight's going to look like a lot easier than MMA. There's too many factors at play. Tiny gloves too. Like, a god can only do so much in MMA, right? Yeah. It's just, this is insane. Like, there's so many kind of, so many factors at play. I'm just never someone that's going to be like, I've watched too much crazy shit happen in an MMA cage to be like truly stunned. Now, if I'd have watched all the build up and watched Juliana's last fights, I'd have been more stunned, but I'm out of the loop now because I'm old, as you know.
And that's the other thing that maybe why I don't put it as high as like Sarah is, because I just don't keep up with it that much. Like if I broke down the fight and be like, oh yeah, Pena, look, she's vulnerable here, and here. Nunes is easily going to walk through her. Then it'd be different. Like the Sarah GSP fight, like that's when I was very into it, breaking things down.
Exactly.
Like, like Matt Serra he ain't got nothing for this guy.
Right.
And then Poirier and Oliveira, you watch that?
Yeah, I mean, Oliveira basically, he reminded me of Marvin Hagler, Jeremy, against Tommy Hearns, where it was like he basically knew he was in danger out there while they were on the feet, so he had to push a pace that benefited him more than Poirier, right? And
Yeah.
he put himself in the firing line. He got dropped. He got hit by some clean counters.
Yeah.
And Poirier's response to that, much like Hearns, was, okay, if he's going to push this pace, I'm going to try and knock him out in this first round. And when he didn't do that, I think you could see Dustin kind of the wind come out of his sails. It was very telling that when he fell on his back in the second and Oliveira got that position, that he didn't have, he wasn't trying to get off his back. He wasn't throwing submission. He was trying to catch his breath, and he didn't get a chance to use that in the third because Oliveira is an absolute. I mean, when he gets your back, man, he's one of the best ever at that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're a big Charles Oliveira guy. That was incredible.
That was, I mean, the first round, yeah, Poirier was lighting him up on the feet, hitting him with big shots, and it looked like, oh man, like how is Oliveira gonna withstand these shots? Oliveira was clearly playing a long game though, because those body shots he was racking up with a couple of those knees to the body. Look, like
clinch work, man.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, and like you could see Dustin start to. There was one that he hit him with where Dustin, like it was the late reaction that you see it with a lot of body shots where he started to back off a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, these are adding up, and then Oliveira started switching to like the little front kick to the body. And like he was working the body and playing a long game. You're right about the second round where he had him down and Poirier he wasn't trying to do anything. He was just trying to close guard, get him there, either work a stand up or just take limited amount of damage. And Poirier or Oliveira, to his credit, like he landed like some good elbows, but like what he mainly did was just like disrupt the breathing and everything of Poirier. Like his hands were all over his face on that, just completely disrupting it. And then third round, like once he gave up his back and he jumped on that, it's like, oh, I know Dustin is like good on the ground, like a lot like Nunes, like he's competent, but once he gave up that position, that was a wrap on him. And the way he like fought off the hands of Dustin to reestablish put the choke position to continue to slide his arm under and everything. That dude's an animal, man.
Yeah, and you can tell that he's so kind of at ease in the cage. He knows exactly what he's doing and he's comfortable in his own skin. Like the way he got position in the second round was he grabbed like that omoplata, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't have it. But he threatened it enough that Dustin really had no choice from what, obviously that's the decision he made. We weren't in there, but the commentary team was confused why he did it. But clearly Dustin felt in enough danger that he gave up position, landed in guard. And Charles Oliveira knew he wasn't going to submit him, but he used it for position. And that's a dude just poised and comfortable, and he's been in the cage so many times. I'm really happy for him that he won this fight because he was getting a lot of disrespect from kind of, I don't want to say casuals, but like people that were just, they saw Conor versus Dustin as the title fight. And there was really no evidence that Conor was in any kind of title fight realm. Dustin, fair enough. But I'm glad for Oliveira that he cemented his title around here. And look, there's a long way to go, right? That's the one defense at lightweight, and it feels like he's climbed the mountain. I mean, it's insane to even see him as champ. But him and Gaethje is that's a good Lord, what a fight. If Oliveira brings that pace against Justin Gaethje, we're in for something even more insane than what the first round was of this fight. So, yeah, I did rewatch. I watched the rest of the main card after. Trying to think what else. What happened on the main? Cody Garbrandt, right? He seems like he's where he's at now. I'm not sure he's going to turn that around as epic as the big epic comeback people wanted. Sean O'Malley was on there. I'm trying to think what else in the main card, but yeah, the main two fights were tremendous, unquestionably. Now I'm not going to chat. So Painful Guy said, "Do you think she'll win it back?" Regarding Nunes, I mean, she definitely has the skill set to win a rematch, right? But you should have to fight a very different fight than just standing there and just trading bombs like it's 2006 and she's Chuck Liddell, like you should have to fight differently. So, but I think she can. It's a matter of where she's at, kind of mentally and physically, I guess. I don't know. We'll see it though. We're going to get a rematch, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to be an immediate rematch
Yeah,
because
of course. That's
I mean,
what
I don't know
UFC
who
does.
else. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else they're really. And Amanda, even though she lost in like very clean cut fashion here,
She should get a rematch. Yeah.
yeah, she's built up enough of
It's
a
just
resume and reputation.
the UFC, like they do so many rematches to me, and like that one's one that deserves it. But they do so many title rematches. But just let it breathe for a minute, you know. Like this one is not the case because, as you said, it's a huge upset. Nunez was a great champ, so I agree. We have a super chat. I can't put it on the screen, Jeremy. Can you when you're
From Riley.
yes, please.
Says, good evening, great people. Question: would you rather have a Taylor Swift love song written about you saying how much of a terrible boyfriend you are, or an Eminem diss track written about you? This seemed aimed right at me. I'll go with the Eminem diss song.
Wow.
I don't do the Swiftie community, man. They ruin lives if they think you're like a terrible human being. Like the rap community, if Eminem disses you, like okay, like
Yeah.
it's not good, and it might end your career, but like you can still kind of like move on and do some stuff.
Move on. Make a very polarizing album and date Megan Fox. Do a lot of
Yeah,
different stuff.
see, like there's nothing bad about that. You can show up to a rap battle with a notepad. And
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Deep cut.
Like,
I
that was
don't
good
even know
shit,
it's the
man.
deep cut, but I just don't know how many people are gonna understand the
I
reference.
mean, it was more deep than mine, so there you go. Now, you do have in the title Zion Williamson. And I'm going to ask you straight up. I have no idea what Zion Williamson has done. I hope it's nothing bad. I hope it's just information regarding his career, Jeremy. Please inform me why Zion is in the title.
It is. He's in the title because I want to discuss him and the fact that I'm not sure he's going to play basketball this season.
Oh, yeah.
And like where are we at on Zion Williamson? Because some people are going the Greg Oden comparisons, and others are still willing to give him a chance.
I mean, when he's been on the floor, he's been pretty fucking awesome. You know?
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I don't know, man. It's really difficult to talk about without sounding like an asshole, but there's certain issues with his frame that we all kind of pointed out, and we all was a little bit scared about certain elements of him physically, and he's, looks like he's struggling, right? Like he's a very
Yeah.
big guy, and he's not. I mean, he's a tall guy for the real world, but not for the NBA necessarily. And he's kind of got that weird Charles Barkley frame, but more so. I mean, he was like 280 coming into the league, right? He's fucking huge. I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to say it without sounding like a dick. He's a big guy. He's a really big guy, and he doesn't appear to have remedied that. I can relate, and I don't know. I hope it. I thought when he's playing, I find him to be so fun to watch. So I hope it works itself out. But honestly, if it does, I don't think it's going to happen in New Orleans anyway. It seems like that whole relationship's kind of got weird from what I can gather. So I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think. I mean, it's not good that he's going to miss probably another season. Foot issues, not good. He's such a guy that relies on athleticism too. Like this is no knock on him, but when you watch him play, obviously a great player, dominant when he's out there. But it is a lot of like athleticism dominate. He doesn't have like the truest shot in the world. Like there's not much of a quote unquote bag or anything that he has. But it's and if he has foot issues and he doesn't have the same explosiveness, if he can't stay in shape, it's tough. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing is he's coming up for the rookie max. Obviously New Orleans is going to offer it to him. Like they'd be kind of foolish not to. And Zion's probably going to sign it because I mean, why wouldn't he take all of that money?
Yeah.
He's not in like much of a position to turn that down. They're not going to trade him. So he's going to be in New Orleans for at least another 5 years. The thing is they just got to commit to like really just building around them because that team sucks. That team's horrible.
Yeah, but like, is it a case of, because look, in his years there, and it's only been a while, I know it's not been like a huge amount of time, and he's struggled to stay on the court and stuff, but it's been more a case of fit than lack of talent, right?
Yeah, it has. And that's the issue is like the guys they've put around him weren't guys that were necessarily going to fit around him.
I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I vividly remember you and I both being like, Steve Adams is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get it. You need defense because Zion. That's like you wanted to kind of protect him, but you need someone that can space the floor a little bit. You know, like because you want to be able to give him. And I'll be honest, I think Ingram is kind of awesome, but I don't know if he's the co-star for Zion in
See,
particular. So
I'm in the same boat as you with that. Is like I think Brandon Ingram is very good, and if they could put some talent, if Ingram has some talent around him, he could be very good or even
right.
better. But like those two together ain't really the right fit on that.
Yeah, that's my kind of read on it. But then the question is, how do you, in good faith, if you're New Orleans, be like, okay, then we'll trade Brandon Ingram? Like
Yeah.
Zion's, he's a complete. It's difficult. I feel for the franchise in some ways because it's just like it's kind of this was the big topic with Zion, right? It's like how physically is he going to hold up? But you had to pick him, right? You couldn't not pick him first, like based on
Yeah.
that. You can't.
Yeah.
Everyone agreed you had to pick him first, so. Yeah, it's kind of a nightmare situation. Someone brought up the Golden State Warriors in the chat. Happy to hear that.
I did want to talk
man,
about that.
I'm telling you, I said it a few weeks ago and people dunked on me. The Sixers are still a good team. It's just the Embiid absence really. People are deceived by their record right now,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're going to win the title or anything, but like they're a tough team. And when their record began to sag when Embiid was out and when he just came back and they were just trying to figure stuff out, like people got really carried away. Look at the lineups they were running and they were giving good teams tough games, There's a lot there still. I think it's obvious. I don't think I'm surprised. Like, dude, you got to just pull the trigger on whatever that Ben Simmons trade is at this point. Like, we're nearly at Christmas. Come on, man. Like,
here's the thing with Simmons is they're obviously going to wait until the December 15th because that's when all the new contracts open up and you'll get different offers. So they're clearly waiting until that. I would be kind of shocked if it doesn't happen within the next week.
Right.
Like I would be, because there's no reason to wait around anymore. It seems pretty obvious that Simmons ain't coming back to the team and playing. You don't need to wait this out. I'm sure there is some team out there. We're deep enough into the season now. There's a lot of just kind of like jumbled mess in both conferences where teams are looking to kind of retool, reshift, make moves and stuff. And somebody will be out there, will be willing to take a chance on Simmons. And it's now that the contracts will open up on December 15th, I think somebody's gonna take that swing. And the Sixers, they'd be foolish not to pull the trigger because they're doing well without him. Right. You want to make the trade, get the new pieces in there, and go ahead and build that chemistry and build that identity with whoever the new guys are.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like I got sent like the NBA rumor Twitter accounts that just like, this team interested, and someone sent me like the Knicks and Lakers one for Ben Simmons. And I just sat and read it and was like, what the fuck, Dave? How would that work? Like,
wait, what are the Knicks and Lakers?
I don't know what the source was, but like it was one of those tweets where it was like, sources say Knicks and Lakers have both shown interest in Ben Simmons. And it's like you read it and you just kind of go, listen, I think Ben's great, but like, what in the world would the Lakers like? Their problem right now is lack of spacing. Like, I think Ben's tremendous, but if Russ is causing you issues in terms of lack of spacing, I don't think Ben Simmons is the answer to that, right? Like, I mean, I know he's not the answer. So I've seen
like it. But I mean, that's the trade, is it not? Because the Lakers got
you can do,
the Lakers got nothing they can. They're not giving up Davis. They're not giving up LeBron. They got nothing they can offer that one makes the money work because Simmons is on the max deal now, right? Yeah. So one, nothing makes the money work. Two, they don't have any good like young pieces where the Sixers are going to be like, oh yeah, we want that guy. Like it'd have to be some framework of Russ for Simmons, and like the Sixers probably ain't taking that deal.
I don't think it works for it because Davis is like shooting the ball worse than ever, right?
Yeah.
There was that stat about him, his mid-range being like that was insane. That stunned me. Because I haven't been able to watch the other teams much this year. And like, then I was looking at the Knicks and it's like, what does that even? I don't know what that looks like. Who are they offering? What?
RJ Barrett?
Like, they want to do that? Like, do you see what Ben Simmons is a weird one where, like, do you know the report about Dame wanting to play with Ben? And all of these people were, like, shocked at it. And it's like, no. The guys that share the floor with him know how good that dude is, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the players, I'm sure, are interested in playing with Ben Simmons. The problem is no GM has enough faith in what Ben Simmons is rather than what he can be to trade anything worthwhile, right? This is why we're in this mess. Like, it's like Portland look at it and go, CJ's a fair deal. And honestly, they're probably right. But from a Sixers perspective, I get why Murray initially was just kind of like, that feels like not enough. At this point in the game, I guess that's a good deal. Like, I don't know. CJ certainly is a good fit stylistically for the Sixers. It's a matter of ceiling, right? Like, what's the ceiling with him him and Tobias both on the same team kind of scares me as well, just because they're both guys that I think are really nice players, but I don't really trust when it really gets down to it.
Yeah.
Which isn't ideal. But again, it's like if Ben Simmons is not going to play, at some point you have to just get someone that's going to be on the floor, right? So,
is there a Simmons for Jaylen Brown framework?
I mean, on my side of the fence, yeah, absolutely. I'd love that framework. I'd feel like that would be.
That's like best case scenario. It feels like, right?
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know what the Celtics fans are saying right now, but like, I would assume they're not particularly into that. Is what I'd guess. I don't know. I mean, they're not. They're a weird team, man. They're a really weird team, and they have been for a little bit now. Like, I get why Kemba was the one that took all the bullets last year because like he weren't playing well, and clearly Kemba's done, right? Like, bless his heart, he's finished. But the Jalen and Jason are kind of doing a weird point. Like, as a GM, what do you do? You know, like what's the play there? Like, I don't know if Ben Simmons is the answer, but at the same time, it feels like you have to do something to shake up the group, right? I guess. I don't know. What's their record right now, Jeremy? I'm not following close enough to know for sure.
There's so many teams just like, and the play-in game changes a lot of things because now technically 10 teams are going to make the playoffs. The Sixers record, it would help if I go to standings and not scores. Or sorry, not the Sixers record. The Boston record is 13-14, and they're 10th in the East.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many, like the Bulls or the Heat, they're in 4th and they're 17-11. And then, here's the Celtics at 10 and they're 13-14. This is why I feel like come December 15th, there's going to be like one of these teams that is just in this jumble. And it's the same thing in the West, by the way. Like, one of these teams that are jumbled, they're gonna take a swing at Simmons and be like, hey, what about the Pacers? The Pacers, they've said they want to trade pretty much everybody.
This one has always interested me. Here's the problem with the Pacers. This kicked us around a little bit. Akash, you should be ashamed of yourself. Please do something other than comment in my chat. Here's the thing with the Pacers. So you'd have to pick if your thing was we're going to build around Ben Simmons. Who are you giving up? So like Brogdon is, I guess, he's the main piece, right?
Yeah.
Brogdon and like something else. I don't know. Maybe TJ Warren. Maybe is TJ Warren even healthy right now because he was injured at the start of the season. I don't know.
I don't feel like he's played at all.
Right. But that's at this point we don't know what Ben's value is, right? Like you would, if you're going to build around Simmons, you would probably keep Miles Turner around, right? Because he's a big man that can space the floor and defend the rim. That's basically the perfect center for Ben. He doesn't really need the ball in the post ever. He can shoot threes, all that good stuff. So what's the trade you're going to do with Sabonis? Like, because you kind of need to get him out of the way. And then it's like, by the time you've done all this, are you even better? Are you a more interesting team at all? Like, I don't know. Probably not. So, because that's the thing with Ben Simmons is like, he can obviously offer a lot. He can't be your primary scorer, man. He can't be. He's not his identity. He's not going to do that shit. I don't care if there's no one in the lane or there's 25 people in there. He's not going to score, over 20 points a game. If he hits 20, I'll be pretty impressed, So you need some sort of, maybe Karis LeVert is your scorer, but then it's like, your team would be Ben Simmons, Karis LeVert, and Miles Turner. It's like, fuck, good luck. It's not, I don't know, Jeremy.
Then what if you trade like, all right, so here's just spitball and stuff here.
Okay.
Brogdon and LeVert for Simmons and give me just another like French piece here.
Well, they're all playing right now, so I don't really. Everyone's had to hit the floor, right? Okay, who's the Pacers pieces? Let me try and Imagine this every month.
Brogdon and Levert are the main two pieces. You're getting both of them. So the
I feel
Sixers
like
got to give up.
you'd want like Shake back if you're giving up both of them, right? Then with this is what I'm saying. It's hard. I don't know.
Because then I think you can flip Sabonis for somebody to replace your guards here for somebody like McCollum.
Okay, I like that one because that would give the Trailblazers something different, which they need. Let's be honest. At the end, they just need to do something different.
Yeah,
right?
they got to do something. Like the Dame and CJ thing, that's run its course.
That's interesting. That's a nice scenario. I like that. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I'm not. It's hard when you're not a fan of the teams, but I don't really see a reason to say that can't work. I mean, Sabonis is one of those guys where he's like, it appears the consensus changes on him every month. Like sometimes it's like real all-star Thomas Sabonis, and other times he's on the trade block and no one's not sure what his value is. So I don't know. Chats to him. Dallas. Yeah, the Luka thing is, as a basketball fan, I am like fascinated by what Luka would intend to do with Ben Simmons. But what the fuck would that look like? Right now, I haven't watched as much this year, but last year, Luka run that offense. It was basically like James Harden.
Yeah,
like,
it was the Harden offense. Yeah.
And he's like, well, what would Ben Simmons do in that? Nothing. So would it be a case of him like sharing the ball more? What kind of shit would they run? Like that one's wild to me. I don't know.
Who are the Sixers taking back in that trade though?
Exactly,
like it's got to be Porzingis for the money. Like you ain't.
Kristaps playing with Embiid just saying, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can do that shit. Yeah.
Like Tim Hardaway, like that's the best you're gonna get at that.
Again, this is what you keep running into. Is like, but then if you're Dallas, it's like, so wait, we're gonna bring in Ben Simmons. We need shooting. We can't give up our shooters, right? It's a nightmare. The dude, he is honestly, I don't think it's an overstatement. He's got to be one of the strangest players in like the whole league, right? Ben Simmons. Well, I think every team, if they're being objective, goes, well, yeah, there's stuff he could do, but like what you need to give up to get him to do that stuff feels completely, just doesn't feel worth it. It's such a strange dynamic.
Jeremy says it'll be like Simmons for Healed. Are you in on Buddy Healed? He's shooting the ball really well this year.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we need someone to keep it on the floor. So I'm not going to dismiss any of these because it's been months and it's like, it's no good him not playing, right? But
yeah, I think
it's
if
not
you're
really
Sacramento,
yeah, it's great for them. Yeah,
yeah, like if you're Sacramento, you probably just like you take that swing because what else are they doing at this point?
They have three dudes that like want to be like ball handlers and shit. Then
yeah,
because then they would have like Fox, Halliburton, and Simmons out there at the same time.
And Fox's shooting has gone like way down as far as. Could you do Simmons for Fox? Is Sacramento like? Are they that out on De'Aaron Fox that they'll just be like, yeah, we'll just because then you'll have Healed, Barnes, and Halliburton who all can shoot. I'm pretty sure like all of those guys can shoot. You're swapping out Fox and just getting a guy who's going to play make more for all of those guys instead of look for his own shot more.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it goes back. It's like, how good is that Kings team?
I mean, they're probably better. I think they're better than they are now. Like I'm high on De'Aaron Fox, but looking at it as far as like who am I starting? Because I'm very high on Ben Simmons. Obviously, you gotta have like we've talked about. You gotta have the right guys around him.
Right.
I think like shooters like Barnes, Healed, and Halliburton are the right guys.
They'd be fun to watch.
Him. Yeah,
they would definitely be. But in fairness to De'Aaron Fox, if there's one thing he's been pretty consistently, it's fun to watch, and he can run a fast break, right? Yeah. So it's difficult. I haven't watched them close enough to tell you how if it's truly fair or not. My instinct is that Kings fans would kind of be like, "No, we're good."
Probably. That's kind of my instinct as well.
Because I remember when there was talk about like someone, there was a reporter that said Halliburton should be on the table in a Ben Simmons trade, and their fans got mad. And I understand that. Like, I completely get that. So I would guess Fox, it would be the same. But you might be right now. Maybe some of these teams, and this is what the Bulls are experiencing right now, man. You need just like, some of these teams need to try and win, and I'm not saying that to say the Kings haven't been trying, because I think a couple of years ago they barely missed the playoffs and they expected to push on, and they haven't. It's hard. It's hard to turn that kind of culture around and get get used to winning, as dumb as it sounds. You remember that season, right? The Kings, they had nearly 40 wins, and everyone was like, next year, they're a lock for the playoffs next year. And like, no. They hired Walton, that didn't help anyone. And that's the other thing for someone like De'Aaron Fox. It's like, if you're the GM, do you not think to yourself, rather than trading for Ben Simmons, I need to just get De'Aaron Fox a good coach and help him,
But De'Aaron Fox was good last year. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a coaching issue, more of just like he just.
But the team, like what I'm saying is, he's like, if your conclusion, not you necessarily, but the conclusion is we need to trade for someone that's going to help us win now.
Right.
My take would probably be, why don't we just give De'Aaron a chance to win now with like a better, because Walton's.
Yeah.
I don't feel too out of turn. I mean, he fucking sucks, right? It's difficult. I don't know.
He's great. He's great when he's, filling in for Steve Kerr, coaching two of the greatest shooters of all time and everything. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just remember when that first started, that whole marriage, and like a week in, the Kings fans were like, please get rid of this guy. And it was like, well, that seems less than ideal. They're 11-16, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you just fucking roll the dice and you just hope you can get the Ben Simmons thing right. I guess so. I mean, if the Ben Simmons, if he got to where he could, he can be, I guess. At this point, I don't know how long we can go on with the potential thing, but if he got there, I mean, he'd be a pretty fucking great king. I mean, I don't know how many players they've ever had that has, his kind of ability and what he can do out there, but is he going to get there at this point? Where is he at mentally? Where is he at? Just all across the board, I have no idea. No one does.
See, I think if I'm Sacramento and I'm looking at it, I'd probably take the risk.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm in a 2K situation, if I'm the one actually running the franchise and I got to think about fan bases and money and egos and all this stuff, then I'm like, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. But if I'm just playing from a 2K perspective, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably making that deal because I'm just going to kind of trust that I'm putting good shooters around him, kind of just let him do his thing and, set screens, play defense and all this kind of stuff and make for everybody. But the Kings culture is so shit that if he sucks, that everyone's just going to be like, wait, you're going to Sacramento?
Yeah. There's a lot to that part too. It's the only teams that I think, if you're the Spurs, you may be able to look at Ben Simmons and think, man, we can actually help Ben here.
Oh yeah.
If you're the Kings, it's like, bro, this is meant to foul, right? All of his worst habits are going to come out. I don't know. It's just there's an argument that it would be nice for him to play somewhere where the pressure is less, because that has been a thing in Philly. This, right or wrong, they get paid enough to live with it, but it's been a lot, he's been there, and Philly is obviously like a pressure cooker, so maybe that would help. I don't know.
The Kings, money Mark says Simmons for Harden, who says no. The Kings, there ain't no pressure there though, right? You go there and if you get them to a playoff game, Kings or play-in game, Kings fans are like, yeah, fuck.
I agree,
Ben Simmons, build the statue.
I agree. It's the same when people talk about Minnesota. It's that would probably be good too, right? I mean, I don't know which place I'd rather. I'm pretty sure I know which place I'd rather live. I don't know, but Minnesota's, when people talk about him going there, it's that would also be the same deal where it's if you can just make them kind of fun and competitive, I think they'd be up for it, right? I don't know how well they're playing this year though, so
they're in that jumbled mix of just they're in playoff territory or play-in territory.
Good,
I believe. Yeah, they're ninth. They're 12-15. I mean, even the Kings, they're 11-16, but that's 10th. That's a play-in game right there. These teams, it's a lot of mediocre. It is a lot of mediocre this season.
I think because the talent is so great, there are fewer teams that have nothing going on than maybe ever. So there actually is parity in the sense that the teams are like very evenly matched, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not an expert, so that could be complete bullshit. But when I look at each team, there are very few franchises that have like nothing to be excited about to me in terms of talent. Now that doesn't mean that the results on the floor are matching that, but it does feel like the talent pool is kind of historically great, right? I'm not like
Yeah.
making that up. It feels like this. And we talk about De'Aaron Fox here, and it's like that dude's incredible. They just haven't been able to win yet, and he's playing with Tyrese Halliburton. We agreed earlier that Zion needs a better team around him, but even that, like you look at some of the players he's played with, it's not like they've been scrubs. It just hasn't fit. There's a lot of talent there, so I think it's hard to stand out as a contender more than ever right now. So that's what you're seeing happen with the records, I think. But
What does a Spurs deal look like for you?
yeah, that's the part that's always. I mean, everyone that's like trying to do the neutral thing is like, well, the Spurs would be fun for Ben Simmons, but it's never really stood out to me what the deal is, right? Like, I
Yeah.
guess you do DeJounte Murray, but then this is again, it's like DeJounte Murray doesn't. I mean, I like him a lot, I really do, but he's not like the most exciting option. And in addition to that, if you take him off the Spurs and put Ben Simmons in, that team sucks, right? Like, what is the point? It's really, really hard.
See, the Spurs is a team where it's just I look at this roster, and maybe it's because I just haven't watched.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think they're one of the teams that isn't what I just said. I think they're kind of barren, right?
Yeah, it's just and look, their record's not terrible or anything.
Right.
They're in 11th place or 12th
Mhm.
place, but they, 2 wins and they're right there. They're in a play-in game. But I look at the roster and I'm just like, just Deontay Murray really is kind of the guy you're most excited for. Like Lonnie Walker, there was some hype around him. It doesn't seem like that's quite manifested itself.
Yeah.
I guess Keldon Johnson is there, but I don't know. There just doesn't seem like there's a lot of Spurs outside. Like, all right, the Spurs system and everything. There just ain't that guy on that team where it's like, yeah, this guy, he's got it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what makes them an intriguing Ben Simmons team, but that's also what makes them a hard one to see because as we just discussed, what's that deal and what does that look like? They're also not a franchise that I see wanting to give up a lot of picks, which is it feels like they would have to get Ben. Do you see what I'm saying? So it clashes at every turn, and if we're being honest, most of these deals do. I think the Portland thing, everyone goes back to it for a reason because it's the one that makes a lot of sense. Like, they need to do something. You can play him at the 4, and he can, I'm really intrigued by him and Covington as a switchy kind of front court. We saw Rocco run small ball 5, and like him and Ben kind of doing that. Like, you'd be vulnerable, and you'd have to be careful with it against certain teams. But that would be interesting to watch, right? Like, imagine how much that team could switch and it'd be interesting. How good? Again, no idea. But at this point, like, how many more times are you going to run that same team, right? It's difficult.
I think, the Portland one always seemed like it made the most sense, especially for Portland, because you got to do something with CJ and Dame. It just, that's run its course. Norman Powell is there now. Like, he's kind of proven that he can sort of be a second scorer, especially if Damian Lillard is your first scorer. Like, I think Powell can kind of be that second guy. And if you throw in Simmons, like, is he going to average 20? No. Is he going to average like 12 to 15? Yeah. I feel like that's very fair to say.
Yes.
And Powell can be that second guy there who can get you that kind of 18 to 20. And then Dame's got to be better first off, because Dame's only averaging like 20, 21 right now. And like that's an issue. Yeah. Money Mark says like the problem is Portland has CJ as a collapsed lung. And so it's like, okay, are the Sixers taking that risk now? Like,
I forgot that story was that. I forgot about that. Yeah, no, it's hard, man. We're waiting for this. It's been a while waiting for a reason. Like, there isn't a lot of natural kind of, but that makes perfect sense. Maybe when the deal is announced and when it's tweeted, we'll both, text each other and be like, actually, that does make perfect sense. Maybe. I get the sense it's going to be one of those ones where we kind of go, wait, what the fuck? How's that going to work? So we shall see. I mean, I've been surprised. Like, I haven't watched them a bunch this year. I've read a lot of the discourse around the Lakers, and that whole thing fascinated me. So I'm not going to dismiss them doing something insane, but like I didn't think they would do the Westbrook thing, and they did that, and they seemed to think it was going to be fine, and
Well, they've beaten the Thunder and Magic in back-to-back games. Everything's corrected itself.
In that case, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That was just one of those. Sometimes you'll look at a team and you'll just kind of go, feels like there's an elephant in the room here. I've seen it with Sixers teams before in terms of shooting. The Anthony Davis part of it is really. I mean, I'm not like deep in the kind of the conversation enough to know, but it feels like a really big topic where he's at in his career. Because there was a perception that he had like years of dominance ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure that's true at all. I think there's a lot of evidence that physically he gets beat up every year and just slowly it's taken a toll on him. I don't think he's as dynamic as he was a couple of years ago. I don't watch closely enough to say that with like confidence, but what I've seen, and that the stats about his shooting were they were nuts. But did you see the one about like his mid range? He's like the lowest in the league that took a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great.
Yeah, and he takes like that. That's one thing.
Yeah,
because he likes to really go from the triple threat position and everything. Mm-hmm. He's not really a post guy, so he likes to just kind of triple threat and jab step and take that mid range shot. And if you're going to do that, you got to hit it at a good clip, and he's not hitting it at a good clip.
Yeah, because I think I'm pretty sure the evidence suggests that he goes to the rim less than ever now. He's shooting more of those than ever, and he's hitting them. So yeah, look, there's a good chance that when those three guys get to the playoffs, they'll click and something will happen. But I wouldn't be confident in that personally. I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to. There is some reasons too. So we shall see. Anyway, this has been your Not Wrestling Monday stream. This was fun, right? We haven't done this in a while. I've got some promotions here. Ready, Jeremy?
Okay, I'm ready.
LateNightGreen.com. Sign up for just $1 and watch Dark Elevation with the Oracle of Wrestling and I. We are also, I haven't told Oracle yet this, but I might watch Raw, which is funny.
Wow, what? Oh, Jesus.
Factual. I'm now using a public Instagram because I like Instagram, but I had to stop using it because some people get really weird with social media, I didn't really appreciate people liking pictures from 2 years ago. Chill on that, please. So if you go on Instagram, you can follow me at Joe Hulbert LNG, which I had to check, Jeremy, that LNG, obviously representing Late Night Grim, wasn't some sort of right-wing political party. I had to be very careful of that.
You know of the 88 where people thought I was a Nazi? You know that story?
No.
Yeah. Apparently 88 is like something for Nazis. And so somebody tagged Sean and is like, why do you have a Nazi writing for your website? Because I had 88 in my username.
Well, that rules.
So that's very smart that you double checked to make sure LNG was not some like
I was so
going to get you some type of backlash there.
I was very, very concerned. So you can follow me there. I just made it yesterday, and I'm gonna just post some funny wrestling shit and I like Instagram a lot because it's kind of to me that app is made for just like posting and getting off. Like I have like a scroll, I'm done. It's a lot less toxic, I find. I'm sure for other people it's the other way around, so that's the way it goes. But yeah, I'm trying not to do Twitter as much. So Twitter's weird, man. I just, it's you can kind of live in a world where Twitter is real life, and that seems bad. I'm trying to avoid that.
Fair.
Like I saw Jeremy Lambert, and I hope I explained this well. So on Friday, I was kind of out of the game a little bit, right? And, I was just kind of in my head and I was thinking about stuff. So I didn't get around to watching your show with Gresh until like the evening, my time. And I went on Twitter to see I watched the video and it was great, obviously. Congratulations on that. You should be very proud of it. It's one of the more substantial and kind of worthwhile things the Distraction brand has ever produced. It was really great and he was wonderful.
He's awesome.
Right, and I went on Twitter and it got the love it deserved, right? Like Jordan Gray shared it, Gresh retweeted it, Sean obviously put it over. And I was really happy for you. And when I saw the video performed pretty well on our channel, right? But I don't think I'm talking our turn to say it should be doing a lot more views than us doing this shit. And that should have, 10,000 views. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world talking about his art. You know what I'm saying? And it struck me like the kind of grin you got from how much buzz it got on Twitter is why I'm on Twitter to begin with, to produce content that gets that kind of love. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that, unfortunately, that is still very much a bubble, even within our bubble. Does that make sense? Like, that video, I'm sure you've seen this, right? Sometimes we'll tweet the distraction link and we'll get like one retweet. And there's like 3,000-4,000 people to watch it. I think both you and I sometimes sit there and think to ourselves, where are these people? I don't know where they are. And it struck me, man. Like, if I ever produced content as strong as that and tweeted it and got that love, I'd be really proud of it. And the idea that doesn't necessarily translate to what you and I try to do with this, which is like growth. It's frustrating to me. I was frustrated on your behalf. Does that make sense? Like, I kind of looked at him and was like, that shouldn't have the same amount of views as me and Bob talking about the Chicago Bulls. That should have. I mean, he's legitimately probably the second best wrestler in the world right now, I think. And that, we talked about it before. Like, sometimes the best work you produce is the shit that people don't pop for. It's a shame, but congratulations on the content because it was fucking awesome. So there you go.
Thanks. Here's the thing, as I knew it was going to be a very like sort of niche thing. Right. So, and I do think like the live shows compared to stuff that you just like sort of upload and whatnot, the viewership is like weird.
Oh yeah, live's better because anyone that stops through the live, I think you get credited for.
Yeah. So I knew, definitely. I was happy, especially because look, we got a lot of subscribers on this channel. It's just a lot of like leftover from the MMA stuff. If we started from scratch, I have no idea how many subscribers we would have. I was happy that it hit 500 views because that was kind of what I was aiming for with it. And I was going to be happy that if it hit that. So anything like above that, I was just going to be happy with.
It did more than that, right? Like 600-700, right?
Yeah. And the love that I got on Twitter, what was great. I was just mostly happy that one, I was able to do it because it was an idea that I'd wanted to do. Two, that like Gresham loved it. Like he was like, he tweeted it like, I want to still be involved and everything. If you keep doing this and like, fuck, I'll keep doing it just to keep doing, bi-weekly shows with Jonathan Gresham. Like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I do that? I have more plans for the series to get more wrestlers involved. Gresham was a guy that he was my first thought. One, because he's really fucking awesome. And two, because I knew he thought wrestling like that. And I knew like if I could get something out there that then I could showcase it of like, here's sort of what the idea is.
Proof of concept, basically.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
No, and look, I can't stress enough. I mean, we've both done content that your motivation for doing that content was never views anyway.
No.
That's something that, and this is what I was texting you a little bit on the weekend, is like, and I think you're the same way. Like, we want to have stuff we can hang our hat on beyond just like they were kind of funny on Twitter once. And like when you produce something like that, there's no time span on that, right? So like these streams are out of date in 2 days.
Yeah.
When Jonathan Gresham's the AEW World Champ, people can still watch that video. So it's a very worthwhile piece of the art form to me. And that sounds pretentious, but to me it's an art form. That's the way I look at it. And I think Gresham, based on that video, I think he would prefer it be seen that way too. So like I think you should be rightly very, very proud of it because it was just fucking, it was awesome. But it kind of dawned on me like the idea of it, right? Like how many people do you see, Jeremy? And I'm not like here to dig anyone out, but you'll see folks that have big Twitter followings, right? Much more than you and I. And like you'll go to their bio and they'll have like a blog or a podcast, and it's like no clue. Because unfortunately, people don't transfer. Like they want to read your tweets and dunking on fucking Raw, but they don't want to go any further than that. I'm guilty of it. I do it with some people I've followed for years that I didn't even did that shit. It's interesting, I guess, is what I'm saying, right? Like the idea that Twitter, what's the positive gain opposite the obvious negative of sometimes you might tweet a dumb thing and you'll get quote tweeted for a whole day. What is the positive?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you experienced this. I'm sure you'd say, fuck, it was great to see, wrestlers showing love and Gresham putting it over. So it's worthwhile sometimes. Me personally, I'm like, we have all the tools, right? Like you and I have this channel. We have a show on the main channel. Doing the Patreon. Obviously, you're invited to join us whenever you want to do on that. Like, it's just you got Twitch, and it's like we got all the tools, and I don't want to. I don't want to in 10 years look back and go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have just live tweeted that show. I could have done a stream instead and grown the audience. So that's where I'm at right now. So there you go.
Like that's I get that. I'm completely with you. Honestly, like again, I had a lot of personal stuff going on this past week. I was not plugged in on Twitter that much this past week, and it was pretty nice to just not be plugged in to a lot of that stuff. And even today, like I tweeted some stuff, but I did feel, and I was keeping up with everything because I was actually producing news and stuff today. But that break, just getting away from Twitter, was very, very helpful. And realizing that just like maybe I should just like focus on like content stuff and not just, hey, all right, let me get this joke off right quick, and like be, full pun intended, be distracted by, all right, I got this joke off. Let me see like how many retweets it did and how many likes it got and how many responses are there and whatnot. Like, I should just like focus more on just some work stuff and trying to get stuff done in there. They having so much going on personally this past week, like definitely changed things for me as far as, all right, how am I going to use Twitter compared to how I used it and I'm sure I'll fall back into a trap of, all right, let me tweet some shit. Okay, I gotta go. You gotta go as well.
I do too. Yeah, I'm supposed to be live on Patreon. Join us, Late Night Grid over there, me and Oracle, Velvet Dark Elevation. Thanks for fun. All help.
Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for the support, and again, thank you guys for the J Shell. You gotta pull back on some of that stuff, but everyone finds their footing and stuff on Twitter. Some people, they use it well, even with the dunks and whatnot, and it helps build their audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, I appreciate the support this past week. Again, I apologize that I missed some streams and everything. I'll explain everything when I can explain everything. But I really appreciate the support on the Gresham video. I like we just talked about. I was very proud of that, and I'm glad that it got some love. And I look forward to continue to do more on them because I think it's something fun. It's something different. And again, I'm happy with it, and I hope you guys continue to support it. I'll be back. We'll be back here tomorrow reviewing Final Battle. Jensen and O'Neal will be here. O'Neal will hopefully, like Joseph said, will have watched the show. Won't say it's just decent. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We'll talk to y'all later on.